Alright, everybody, hello and welcome to episode number 14 of Watching Walford, an EastEnders podcast where we talk about and review all of the EastEnders episodes every single week. Likewise, welcome back to the Watching Walford channel, which is more than just one podcast, as we aim to make, news videos, discussion videos. We like to occasionally do some videos thrown around in the community, and occasionally we talk about other soaps. And yeah, one video idea that I've thought about that I've not actually talked to Piggy off the podcast is I've thought about doing like a takeaways video, like the insert number of takeaways from the week, which will kind of cover a bit of everything. Like, you know, maybe like the most important things from each soap. Don't know how often it would be.
Oh my god, I completely read that wrong. When you said we were rating the takeaways, my fat ass went, we're rating all the 5 takeaways on EastEnders.
Yeah, no, we aren't. Alright guys, time to rate a takeaway. It's no takeaways here. The biggest story points from all the shows. Is it viable? Could we do that at some point?
Well, you're the one who'll be watching all the shows. Yeah,
I'm 90% sure it would just be me, but I float the idea.
You're essentially the Stephen Rowe. This is an OSW reference. You're the Stephen Rowe, and I am the OOC. I just watch the show. You watch all the highlights. You do the weeks before, the weeks after. You do everything. I just watch the show. That's it. I'm not watching Coronation Street.
That's fair. It's not. I mean, it's not. To be fair, it's also predicated on the fact of if I actually catch up to everything, and that's like a full-time job in itself.
That takes that. Like, I'm not saying it's not possible, but considering that both of us find it hard to take notes, imagine just you trying to take notes.
Well, I wouldn't be taking notes of everything. I would just essentially figure out what is the key point coming off that week and going from there. So, yeah. Will that be on the channel? Who knows?
No.
I am your host, Ash. I'm joined by Piggy.
Hello, I am currently drinking, and now I recommend you guys get this drink. I will spell it out on the podcast. It is a WARKAORADLER drink. It is
a what?
It's a rock shandy lager mix, non-alcoholic.
Yeah, I was gonna say you started spelling stuff out. I started trying to play like Hangman, but it wasn't fucking going in. It's just like, bloody hell, there's more letters.
What's this? It's like that Lee Evans dyslexia joke.
Wasn't expecting the Evans
have you ever
reference
heard
on
the
the podcast.
dyslexia joke that he made?
Probably, but I don't remember specifically.
It basically, for people who want to know, he was making the joke that dyslexia. For people who have dyslexia, it's a hard word to spell. There's a fucking X in there. There's a Y somewhere. That was basically what he was saying. There's a Y. There's an X. There's an L.
Yeah,
I can't even spell dyslexia, and I'm dyslexic.
Yeah, I've heard that joke butchered by many a people. But yeah, after the time, probably not the first person to tell that joke. Definitely not the last. Yeah.
We get a third person on this podcast. The third person will make that joke.
Yeah. Just the third person just hears it and just has never heard anything before. Blow their fucking mind. Don't even know we're recording a podcast right now. They just think we're talking and the microphones are there for show.
Yeah.
Yeah. I suppose.
Can you imagine if we got a studio?
That'd be nuts.
Us two in a studio, Let's do in the studio, just me with a note, even though I can't write, just me with a notepad, pausing it. All right, Denise had a shit on this episode. Note that. Oh, Ravi's having a wank. Note that. Reese is bald. Note that. And then you just coming in. No, you can't note every single detail.
Yeah, it's my
But
job.
the detail, yeah, the details, Piggy, they have to know.
They have to know why this scene's important, even though it's not really that important. But if you overthink it, it's really, really good. It's
like that English teacher where it's like, but why was Romeo wearing a red dress? But why? And then you're like,
see,
because he's on
Romeo.
freedom of speech. No, no, it's not freedom of speech. It's because his hair is red. You're like, okay, don't scream at me. And they're fucking stupid. Do something you like, you little bitch. You're like, Jesus, it's only English.
Yeah,
Miss.
it's
Calm
like
down.
it's like the lessons where it's an exercise where the teacher will say like, "Why was the wall blue?" And if you read into it, you can be like, "Well, it was just such a gloomy day, and they've been struggling to deal with depression for such a long time that the world around them just resorts to being muted colors, so that they just can't see beyond it. You can't climb over the wall, you can't get around the wall." And then the writer's asked, and there's like, "It's fucking blue, mate. It's just blue." Why are you reading so much into it?
Exactly. Like, it's just mental. But yeah, if you want to know how my week's been, um, obviously Easter is tomorrow. I would have eaten chocolate, but I still have to ship an Easter egg. I'll probably do that Wednesday if I
Nice.
can. You'll eventually get your Easter egg. Don't worry, it will eventually come.
Thank you.
It's just gonna take a while. It's gonna take some time to realize I can't remember any Jack and Ross lyrics.
No, neither. Well, technically, it's Easter today when the podcast comes
Oh,
out. So,
hopefully, unless it comes
happy
out on
Easter.
Monday.
No, it'll come out on Easter. Easter Sunday, happy egg day. Rip Jesus
Happy
one
egg day.
time. Something.
Fun fact. Fun
Eh,
fact. Do you know maybe you get the large eggs?
yeah.
Like you get like the big tall eggs. Apparently Americans don't do that. Apparently that's only a British thing.
Oh.
The big tall eggs. Apparently
Yeah.
that's only like a European thing.
Yeah. No.
Because apparently
Yeah,
I thought eggs also
American
carry a bit of
sizes are
power.
ridiculous. Like every time you order like a normal meal, it's like, well, here's 3 trays of chips with that. It's like, I just ordered a salad.
Apparently, yeah, apparently they put some acid in the eggs as well. Not the drug. They apparently put some acid where it tastes like butter, but it makes the chocolate so sour.
Oh.
And you're like, Jesus, who wants to eat sour chocolate? Like, I don't mind a sour jelly. I can, because a sour jelly is at least chewy. You don't want, like, your chocolate is supposed to be smooth, like a back rub. It's supposed to be smooth.
Yeah.
You don't want to be chewing chocolate and then you're like, oh God, it's sour. Oh
It's
God,
not really
I'm
something
gonna.
you expect from chocolate is the main issue. Then again, America's got a big issue with chocolate. It's just like
Yeah.
it's like you make, you know, you put some pasta on. You get the water boiling, you put the pasta in there. Sprinkle some salt in there. And then you turn around and America's like, "How about 5 teaspoons of sugar, baby?" It's like, I just wanted the salt, and they're like, "How about 5 more?" And it's like, what? No, who wants sugar in this? That's kind of
Um.
America's sweets and stuff in a nutshell.
Yeah. If for people like who are wondering, Americans can't do chocolate. Like that is more a British cuisine and Switzerland and basically all the European countries. Yes, I know some people are going to say, well, this country's not part of Europe. Well, I'm not going to name all the countries that are part of Europe and not a part of Europe. So we'll just lump them all a part of Europe.
Hmm. I mean, yeah, fundamentally,
Yeah,
Europe's much better at chocolate than America.
yeah, because we just put a lot of sugar in ours. We don't put any acids that make it. I think we used real milk and they use some weird chemical milk, which makes the chocolate more watery and disgusting. I was reading this one day, and apparently they use some chemical milk, whereas we use real dairy milk. Like we literally get it out of the cow's
Yeah.
tit.
Yeah.
That's how fresh it is.
Straight into the chocolate
It's
bar.
it's like have you ever heard of how the Americans do the chicken nuggets and burgers compared to us over here in England and Ireland?
Is it just like a fucking paste?
No, so do you know the way in England and Ireland all our animals are free range?
Yeah.
So they're not caged, basically. So they at least get to live a happy life. They pretend that nothing's going to happen to them. And then bam, straight to the slaughterhouse. RKO, 1, 2, 3, he's dead. In America, it's like Auschwitz. They're literally locked up in a cage. They have nowhere to move. They're fed horrible
Me.
food. They're fed horrible food.
Let's
They're not
compare
treated.
genocide of a to free range. It's maybe
No,
get a bit
no.
more apt
What I'm
comparison.
saying is, like the caged animals, like in America, they're not they're caged.
I mean, you say that,
They
but
don't have life.
a lot of animals are allegedly free roam. But there was also
Allegedly.
there was a massive string of farms who also technically had all their animals free range, but they were all caged. Like,
Yeah, but for the most part,
technically.
our food is free range, whereas the Americans are more caged.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why our burgers taste better. Like if you go to an American McDonald's, it's not going to taste as nice as say if you go to an Ireland or an English McDonald's, an Irish or English McDonald's. It's not going to taste as nice and juicy or greasy. It's probably going to taste a lot greasier in America. They like to deep fry a lot of things.
True.
I bet they, if they could, they deep fry their jocks and eat it.
And why not?
America's so weird.
It's food in it.
But yeah, but it's so. I was just watching that documentary when I was in secondary school, and I was like, Jesus, America. And then it started making sense because all the Irish YouTubers were like, oh yeah, if you ever been to an Irish McDonald's, much better than an American McDonald's. And you're like, oh. So if I ever go to America, I can't wait to try McDonald's and compare it. Because let's be realistic here. If either one of us is going to America, it's not going to be the guy who welds who welds leather for a living.
Well
It's
done.
going to be probably me.
What's this?
I said only one of us would probably go to America. It's more than likely me.
Yeah, it's
Not
probably
you.
not me. Don't like traveling too much.
Like I'm going to England in August. I'll get into that. So yeah, my week is being pretty good. I set up my ring. I'm certainly not getting my PC in June. We're waiting for the house to be sold to get that. So my PC's been a bit delayed. But at least I'm going to a wrestling show. I'm going to AEW's All In with Ferg. I do a wrestling podcast for people who don't know. So I do wrestling and EastEnders. So it's kind of intertwined. That's why there's so many wrestling references on this show, and there's no EastEnders references on Pigs and Fergs because we have a policy, no EastEnders reference. I try to sneak one in there. So yeah, I'm going over to England. We're trying to make it as safe as possible for me to fly, considering I've anxiety and stressful situations make me stress. So we're trying to make it as safety as possible. So
Yeah.
we're apparently getting the seat that you can book where no one sits between you. So it'll be like so it will be me at the window,
Nice.
and then no one in the middle, and then someone at the end. So I'd be looking out the window, happy as Larry, like a free range hen.
That you can only find in England.
Yeah.
Not in America.
Not in America. But yeah, so I'll be in London in August. You'll easily spot me. I am easily spottable. My Rick Rude and Jack the Snake Roberts finally came.
Nice.
And also I got some new outfits, and I wore this outfit out today. I just showed you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
wore this outfit out.
that's very
That's what.
colourful.
And someone said I looked lovely.
I do not to critique the outfit, but you've got like brown and black boots and a military green hat.
Yes.
You know what?
It's the look.
I'm gonna respect it.
And as I said to my dad, I'm like a clown in the Vietnam War. I'm to be easily spottable.
Uh,
You know, like when they're all hiding in the bush, I'll be
yeah.
the clowns standing there. You guys are idiots. They're not going to notice me, and it's just me with a big clown hat. No, I said clown, not clan, by the way. I said clown.
Oh, jeez.
Just for people who think I'm going to do a Jim Neihard. No, I'm not implying that.
Yeah.
So how's your week been?
Oh, that's the question. Nah, it's been alright. Obviously, I've been pretty open about mental health on this podcast, pretty like fairly a fair amount before. And it's all positive. It is all positive. But this is the first week in a good while where I've felt ready to like start making like other videos again and doing some like streams where I'll speedrun some games.
Subscribe to Aquatrains on Twitch and YouTube, by the way. Shout out to Aquatrains, who's not in this call.
And it's been good. It has been good. But there's also, because of the medication I'm on, I used to be a lot more emotionally stunted and I didn't really feel much. Now with that medication, it's just an antidepressant. I'm now actually feeling a lot more, you know. I'm actually I'm like, I could go days without feeling anything. But now even like a slight nuisance will like build up some frustration. So it's been a balancing act. So it's been ultimately positive, but I put a lot of pressure on myself to stay really active and busy and keep making stuff. And it's been, like I said, it's been good, but it also makes other things stressful when you're trying to get a lot of other stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's why we are here to try and enlighten people who need to be enlightened, because there is some people, not to give names, Andrew Tate is one of them, but not to give names. But some people think that mental health is just get up and get on with it. Yeah, you're gonna say that, but when I'm swinging out of a tree, you're not gonna tell me to get up and get on with it. I'll be fucking dead. Like mental health is not a joke.
And then someone walks over and went, they got the hang of it.
We just push him. He's like a piano. Smack him. Cans will come out.
But yeah, I echo the sentiment. Mental health is a pretty important discussion point. If you are struggling, you know, talk to your friends, talk to your family, and just try alleviate some of the pressure that you're putting yourself under. One of the biggest causes of stress for me personally is I put a lot of pressure on myself because I personally believe that I've kind of hit my glass ceiling in terms of like the traditional jobs type deal. I don't think I'm cut out for that kind of lifestyle. So I want to build up something, you know, I want to build up some like entertainment stuff. I want to do some streaming. I want to make some YouTube videos. I want to do podcasts. And that's where a lot of my productivity lies. But I also put myself under a lot of fucking pressure. Because I back myself a fair amount. Because in this kind of thing, you have to back yourself. You have to strongly believe that what you're doing's good. Otherwise, what's the fucking point? I'll just sit there and exist till I die. So, but that also means I put a lot of pressure on myself to deliver on all of the things I try to do. And weeks like this week, sometimes it gets a bit much.
See, I can't really add to that because obviously I'm not in actors' shoes. No, I'm in a fan's boot, but with the fur, the whole club was looking at me, and I did get low. Um, but yeah, I guess for people, if people want some funny news, before I get on to WrestleMania, because we might as well mention WrestleMania as it has happened and we are wrestling fans. So for the two people that want to know what our thoughts on WrestleMania is before we get into the podcast, we would gladly give it. But just some news I wanted to mention because I found it funny. America has basically gone into a shitstorm about a trans woman being on a can of Budweiser. Bud Light.
I don't know why. It's a
Basically,
shit beer, anyways. It's one of the
the reason
worst beers.
it's funny to me because the can was only for her. Like, you know what I mean? She's
Oh,
not like her
so
face is
it
not going to
wasn't
be
like
on.
a special edition. It's not like she's on all of the cans. It was just she gets a special one.
Yeah, and
Oh.
in America it was like, no, how dare they put trans women on cans?
Why are you putting
Fucking gone woke.
politics into it?
Fucking gone woke now.
I just want to drink a beer without feeling politics.
And then what makes it better is because I seen all these TikToks. They're like, fucking hate Bud Light gone woke, and having a Coca-Cola fridge, having beers off a Coors Light, driving a Ford Focus, like, you know,
I hate consumerism. Also.
I hate the fact that the queers are being pushed on everything while having everything that supports the queers. Like, it's the most outrageous thing ever. Like I don't understand. Like, okay, sorry to get a bit serious for a second, but I don't understand the point of like buying a Bud Light, bringing it at home, and throwing it out.
You already bought the fucking thing.
Yeah, like, okay, I don't recommend this. Don't do this. But if you want to make it a point, smash it up in the store. Don't smash it up at home
I
where
mean,
you've already
even
bought
at
the
the
fucking thing.
store, even the store's already paid for it. So you know.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. If you did want to make a point, you smash it
Hypothetically,
at the store.
sabotage a Bud Light factory. Hypothetically, in a video game in Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you want, like, and then there was now I don't know if you heard this news, and my heart goes out to this. There's two little segments that I want to segue in before we get into WrestleMania and then into the podcast. That will probably be 2 hours long because I keep ranting. A bunch of I don't know if you know this, but there was a trans shooter in America. She shot up now. It was a she. What? No, he shot up Nashville. Um, and basically, people have basically lumped that into with Bud Light. They're like, why are you sponsoring trans people after one of them shot up a school? And you're like, you don't do that about presidents. Like, you know what I mean? When Donald Trump grabbed women by the pussy, you don't turn around and go, that's a bad Donald Trump. You all went, whoa, Donald Trump, he makes people funny. He laughs at funny people. And like, and in the minute a trans person does it, they're like, no, that's wrong. Why support all of them?
I mean,
George W. Bush did 9/11, and you still supported him. You like just because one person does one horrible thing does not mean the entire people
the
are
the
horrible.
entire group gets marginalized by it. I mean, it's the
Yeah,
way the world works. If people dislike something, they'll use anything they can to get a point about it.
and something I wanted to bring up, it was a bunch of kids went into, I don't know what the parliament is called in the US. I'm not getting into that, but basically a bunch of kids went in there, and basically the women were like, and some of the men people in Congress were like, yeah, it's the drag queens and the trans and the gay people pushing the agenda that's the problem. All the kids went, no, it's guns. and three out of the 90 Democrats or whatever it was stood up and went, "Yes, the guns," and then they were all like, "No, sit down, you're fired."
Yeah,
So
pretty
they
much.
literally the problem went to them, and they went, "No, it's the drag shows." It's literally like telling your mom, "Do you want a cup of tea?" And she says no, and then you make it for yourself, and then she goes, "But I wanted a cup of tea. I'll make you one now." No, there's no point. You know what I mean? It's basically that. The problem was right there. And I went, "No, that's not the problem. The problem is the drag queens. No, 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 it's not the guns. No, it's not the fuck off. It's not the guns. Fuck you. Fuck you for thinking it's the guns. Guns are safe. Guns don't kill people." I was like, "No, the guns are the problem. You're giving the guns to literally a mental bastard who could do horrible things with a gun. Why do you think there's been no evil dictator since World War II?
Yeah.
This is the reason why. This is the reason why we have Negro." You know what I mean? Guns shouldn't be as easy to get as a chocolate bar. Because if they are, that's a problem. Because I'm saying literally, me or you could just go in there without a permit and be like, "I want this AK-47. I'll be back in a minute. Shoot you. You're dead. Fix your gun laws, please." Now to WrestleMania. I absolutely loved. This won't be shown on the screen, but I hope it is. I absolutely love the end of WrestleMania for the simple fact that someone threw a chicken in the ring. Not a real chicken, a rubber chicken in the ring. So the end of WrestleMania is Cody all sad, and then it's a fucking rubber chicken beside him.
Mm.
So it's like you're supposed to have this sad moment. I don't know how to describe it in EastEnders. It's like if a car scene, it's like that car crash that happened this week. It's like that very dramatic thing, and then there's just a person there licking an ice cream. Like, it's not supposed to be funny, but it is funny.
Yeah, I don't honestly, I don't have much to add.
So, your thoughts on WrestleMania before we get into the
Uh,
podcast?
it was, it's alright. I didn't really, I don't like watching stuff at 4 in the morning. I enjoyed night 2 a lot more than I enjoyed night 1, despite night 1 being significantly better. But fundamentally, a lot of the stuff just didn't really click with me. So, yeah. Anyways, before this podcast becomes 30 minutes long of just intros, we are going to be reviewing week 14 of 2023. The episode's going from the 3rd of April to the 6th of April. We kickstart the week with Chelsea walking and talking to Denise. They talk about Libby being dressed like an Easter egg. Why? Apparently it's Uni that made her dress like an Easter egg. But, like, did she just make herself round? How does
I
one
wasn't paying
dress like
attention
an
in this
Easter egg?
scene. So, like, I couldn't really notice it. I wasn't listening to what they were saying, and then I heard an Easter egg. I was like, what? I've missed something here.
Yeah, Libby is dressed like an Easter egg, apparently. But this scene carries on as Ravi walks in and says, so you don't want the bunny costume I bought you? More flirty, sexy.
I want to see the bunny costume.
I want to see it on Ravi. Oh.
Now, it's just like a trans woman where he has to tuck the dick in. He can't let it hang out. It has to be tucked in. It has to be sellotaped.
Yeah.
Unless you want it hanging out. Do you want it hanging out, or do you want it tucked in?
Be honest, I didn't really think about it in this much detail.
Well, I just have to know so like I can Photoshop it. Do you want it hanging out, or do you want the fruit and veg hanging out, or do you want it hanging in?
I'm sorry to all the other men out there, but penises aren't really the most visually appealing.
No, especially if they're not circumcised.
That's an opinion.
Because like, no one wants to see a penis with a raincoat on it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna let that one sit there. They kiss and, like, absolutely get into it. Like, bloody munching last night's dinner through each other's mouths. And yeah, Karen says, Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's like a taste your lunch kind of kiss. We also saw Bailey for the first time in ages, and she's fucking tall. She's massive. It's just funny to see kids. It's funny to see kids go through puberty and just in between when they're on screen because they're suddenly giant. But as this happens, Ravi completely cuts off Denise and like it just gets in the way. And after this kind of dissipates, he chases after Denise and says, "Oi, I want my fucking information. Get me sorted, and I'll not sleep with your daughter." And Kim and her daughter are getting ready for the Influencer of the Month award. Pearl would rather spend time with Denzel instead, but Kim talks everybody's ear off. Howie says, "You might not even win the award," and says, "You can come if you want to." But Denzel says, yeah, bollocks to that, I've got a history exam to do. But Kim shuts off the TV and says, "These earrings are not screaming award." And then furthering this, we see Jack and Amy arrive home. Jack's proud of Amy and wants a reward for her attending counselling. He wants her rewarded with a box set and some pizza, but Amy says she's got plans later on, as she quickly messages Denzel like, "Yeah, all good." Man. Actually, I'll get into that later, but yeah. It's party time on the square. I'll say that much. Then we see Chelsea talking to Stacey, who is essentially going, "Yeah, Ravi's a bit weird, isn't he? He tried to kiss me twice when I was a kid, And then Chelsea's like, Why does everybody hate him? Like, what's he done to everyone to just be so hated?" I'd probably argue it's quite reasonable. It's not like Ravi's really been like shaking hands, kissing babies. He's just been like, "Well, hello there, you. Do you want a shag? I'm charming." And then they're like, "Nah." And then he's like, "And on to the next one." Freddie, Mitch, and Felix are in the chippy as Mitch complains about the portions, and Freddie says, "Well, Bobby B is very particular about how many chips define a portion." And how many chips do you think defines a portion? Comment down below.
How many do you think?
I want diagrams. Well, the best thing about chips is the fact that anybody who bags the chips just shoves whatever the fuck they want in there. It's like, well, just do the entire tray, and you're like, "Oh, cheers, mate."
There used to be this restaurant, not a restaurant, there used to be this old takeaway in my old town. It's still there. It's called The Fountain. And basically, so you go in there and you're like, "I love our batter sausage." The mom would just throw about 4 or 5 chips in with the batter sausage for free. So like, you'd be like sitting there like, "Oh, this batter sausage is lovely. Oh, there's chips. Oh my God."
Yeah,
Not many takeaways do that anymore.
Yeah, true. I mean, sometimes it's all about profit margins. Nah, it's just a chip shop. You get so many spuds. You just fry them. It's easy. Like, why not? But yeah, comments down below. I want diagrams. Can you actually do diagrams in the YouTube comment section?
I don't think so.
I want you to make a diagram using your keyboard.
Email
it. Email it to somewhere else.
I will dox Aquatrains' email address.
You shall
but
not.
I rather not. If I do, I'm fired from this podcast, so I have to withhold that information.
Indeed. And Felix mentions Freddie's feet pics, and Freddie asks, like, "Are you stalking me?" Meanwhile, new girl Jessie has been watching from afar and asks if she can get a private viewing of the feet. Freddie says, "Yeah, you want to grab a pint in the Queen Vic?" And she's like, "Yeah, Queen Vic tonight at 9. As Felix and Mitch are like losing themselves, like, "Holy shit, how'd you pull that off, Freddie, you fucking geezer?
You fucking slag.
You fucking dog." Yeah, I be honest, never really incentivized anyone to go out with me because I got nice feet. Mostly because I don't have nice feet. But even if I
Mine are,
did,
yeah,
I
even
wouldn't
if
be
you
doing
did.
it. I wouldn't be doing it.
My feet are, Jesus, they're like hard-boiled eggs. I wouldn't recommend them.
No.
Because I walk a lot, so I have athlete's foot.
Hmm.
So yeah, unless you want a lot of dry skin on your chips, I wouldn't say go out with my feet.
That's something to be remembered. In the kitchen, we see Ravi talking to someone, and he's like, "Yeah, I'll get the information soon." But Chelsea walks in and says, "I can't go out tonight. Got no one to babysit Jordan." Ravi says, "Maybe Nugget can babysit Jordan." Yes, Nugget, the 14, 15-year-old teenager who has had zero reason to prove that he's capable of responsibility and has been a bit of a shite bag the whole time. But you know what? Chelsea says nah, but then says, "Yeah, why not?" Go on
Why?
then.
Why would you why would you trust a 14-year-old to babysit unless they've been doing the job for years?
Well, if they're like a reasonable, fairly mature, teenager, sure. But Nugget,
Nugget's about as mature as my shite.
Nugget doesn't even know that he's on EastEnders. He thinks he's
He's the
real.
third guy in our podcast. He's the guy who doesn't think we're recording.
He doesn't. He thinks Ravi's beard's fake. But yeah, moral is don't let Nugget babysit your child.
I
And
do.
if you want disaster. And Kim is unhappy when the car pulls up, and she tells her little entourage, no ugly phones allowed at the award show. And Denise wants to say something to Ravi, but Kim's like, no, 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 get back here, you. At the cafe, we see Sonia and Kathy. Sonia is happy that Kathy gave Rocky a second chance, and Kathy gives Ben free food. Ben replies, I only wanted a coffee. And Reese tells Sonia that it could be a while before the documents arrive from Your Majesty's government, as this is his excuse for not going to Bangkok to see Bex, is that he doesn't have a passport.
I absolutely love that comment. Like, he's just there socially awkward. He's like biting his nails, and he's like, "Yeah, from your your Majesty's government." That line buckled me when I had to go back, and I was like, "Did he just say that?"
Yeah, we'll get into it a bit more later, but obviously there are a bunch of rumors swirling around. Not that I've seen much. I haven't actually seen much speculation about what because obviously on the Friday's episode of the previous week, it was revealed that Reese has a wife that he hasn't told Sonia about. So we will obviously say our takes later on in the episode. So keep your eyes peeled and your ears listening. I don't know. What do people do with eyes? With ears? Open?
Wiggle them.
Wait.
Go on, wiggle the ears for us.
Ah. And Ben's sparring partner comes in and says, "Hey, what are you eating that?" And Ben jokes "Yeah, I'm sure Tyson Fury enjoyed a few egg and chips." Callum then walks in and says, "What was that about?" And Ben says, "Oh yeah, just wanted his car fixed." Ben then gives Callum the food, which he reluctantly doesn't accept. You got quite angry that nobody's accepting free food.
It's free food. Like, if a lady came up to me in a shop and went, "Look, you've been so loyal to our or there was a restaurant in Nace that I used to go to, a cafe called Yum Yums, or Yum Yums is one of the two. And if they come up to me and went, "You've been so loyal with us, Piggy, for the last 4 years, giving you a free egg and chips," I'm not going to say bloody no. It's free food. Who's going to say no?
I mean, to be fair, it was egg and chips, and I don't know if I vibe with egg and chips in the morning.
And beans. I think there was beans on that plate as well.
I didn't. I'll be honest. I didn't study the plate.
I think there was beans, eggs, and chips.
They did. What did you fucking sniff his breath as well? Come here. Whoa. Is that some beans I smell? Like a bloody hawk on it.
It might have been my feet I was smelling instead. Oh, I smell beans. Oh, no, it's just my feet. Never mind.
That's grotty, mate. Continuing onwards, at the house we see Freddy realising he's only gone and bloody double booked. He's set up 2 dates for 2 different people, Bookshop Becca and Chip Shop Jesse. Jesse likes his feet and his... and Jean is just really confused as to why everybody's obsessed with his feet. Stacy said it's his thing, and then she says, "Listen, alright, Freddy, just see him out an hour each. I've done much worse." And Freddy thanks Stacy, whilst Jean says there'll be tears before bedtime. Bloody
foreshadowing.
Yeah, there will be. Many tears. My tears
Anyway.
if Freddy's feet are fucking mentioned again.
Oh, I love how they keep mentioning Freddy's feet.
They're like a buzzword at this point.
It's because there's going to definitely be people in EastEnders, or not in EastEnders, people watching EastEnders being like, "Oh, bloody gone woke," with these feet comments.
Or some people be sat there like, "Go on, get him out again.
Get him out.
Come on, come on, Freddy. Get him out. Get those fucking tootsies out.
Get them feet out now, love. I'll give you a gummy job."
Hey. Yeah, once again, leaving that beat. Not even touching it for the, I don't know, barge
like
pole.
Freddy's feet.
That's the reference. And we see Ravi and Nugget have a disagreement as Nugget really wants to go to the party. And, well, Ravi is putting the pressures on Denise, saying he's going to pump Chelsea. So, you know, he's going to be a man of his word. Ravi tries to pressure him by saying, "I'm doing jobs for you to buy that laptop you wanted." And Nugget's like, "Oh, this is so unfair." And Chelsea's seen getting ready as Felix, Ixeron, and men arrive, and Nugget definitely wants this laptop. Chelsea says everything's in this bag, whilst Nugget arrives and says, "Hey, Jordan, you got a jacket?" And I just wrote, Jesus Christ, he's bringing Jordan to a party. Jordan's like 4 years old. Mate,
did we both write that, or did I just write it? I'm confused.
I don't know. I think it is the natural response.
He's 4. It was like Johnny Gargano last week when he brought his 1-year-old daughter to the wrestling event. At least Cody's child had earmuffs on. That child didn't have earmuffs, and Jordan doesn't even have earmuffs.
Yeah, actually, Jordan is 1 year old.
That's not going to be good.
He's going to start popping pills at 4.
He's going to pop a perk like Park Angle.
He's starting on the WKDs early.
I'm just imagining him doing the moonsault off the stairs. Off the banister to Chelsea.
And we then see Freddy at the Queen Vic as Stacy, June and Harvey walk in. They all egg him on as Bookshop Becca walks in. She says, "Ah, the Great Gatsby." And he's like, "Yeah, Leonardo DiCaprio. Not by fuck Scott Fitzgerald."
If you've seen Ted 2, that's a great reference.
Yeah, apparently I haven't seen it, so.
Have you seen Ted 1?
No.
God.
It was just, well, the way they angled it, it's just like, oh, hey, it's the Family Guy guy doing a Family Guy voice sound.
Basically, for context for people, Ted 1 is a great film in my opinion. It is but it just hammers home that it's like Seth MacFarlane doing a Seth MacFarlane film. Like, because for people who don't know, Seth MacFarlane wrote 3 great seasons, maybe 4, of Family Guy's great seasons, and then it just went down. And then with Ted, it went down. Ted 1 was all right, and then Ted 2 just nosedived.
Cheeks.
And then he went on and
Absolute
did
cheeks.
another film that bombed at the box office, and then he did another film, bombed at the box office, and then he did a Star Trek parody, which apparently did well, and then that bombed,
Nice.
just like the Cleveland show. So
Yeah. And Freddie kind of is like, "Oh yeah, do you wanna see?" As he orders some cocktails, as everybody's eyeing them up. Otherwise, Chelsea mentions to Ravi how good he is at being a dad and how he's good with kids. As he gets a text from Denise asking him not to do this, but he kind of starts to like trail off and doesn't really pay attention to Chelsea. And at the house party, we see the usual crew who are patiently waiting for Nugget to show. Just as Nugget shows up with Jordan in a baby harness. He did like a proper entrance as well. Like he walked in, he raised his arms, and everybody's like, "What? Why'd you have a child?"
not many things buckle me on EastEnders, but when he raised his arms up like he just won a boxing match, it buckled me. Like he's just defeated Tyson Fury, and he's like the champion of the world. The baby's the championship. Like it's like, yeah, I won it.
Yeah, it was mental. Unbelievable. Some would argue. And at Peggy's, Chelsea and Ravi continue to talk. She wants to get to know the real Ravi, not any of the games. However, Ravi is moving like a stiff door to a pub. He's been very hard to talk to, and Chelsea's like, "You know what? I'm just gonna go." But Ravi quickly says life was hard. Nugget saw things he shouldn't have seen. And with this bare minimum of opening up, she's like, well, may as well continue. Why not? Reese is seen in the laundrette channeling his great auntie Dorothy. He's folding clothes as Sonia walks in and goes, "Wait, hold on. You can fast track these passports." Reese says patience is a virtue, but Sonia's booked him an appointment this week.
I feel so bad for Reese. He's been forced to go to Bangkok.
What's wrong with
Reese doesn't
Thailand?
want. What?
What's wrong with Thailand?
He's been forced to go to Thailand. It's like we've been forced to Vietnam. Like he's just been forced. He's been what's the thing they send in the post? He's been voted to join the army. He has to go to Thailand, fight for his country, for Rishi Sunak.
Enlisted.
Yeah, enlisted. He has to be enlisted in Thailand. Shoot all the lady boys.
And we see Kim celebrating with her car as it seems that she's happy that she's won. She's won a yellow Volkswagen Beetle. And yeah. You wrote you thought it looked like the In-Betweeners car.
Have you ever seen the In-Betweeners car?
Yes. But the only comparison is that it's small and yellow. Just wanted to make that very clear. It doesn't look anything like the In-Betweeners car. The In-Betweeners car is a yellow shitbox. This one is a Beetle.
That's what they used in the Italian Job, I believe, in 2003 remake. I might be wrong, but I'm probably am.
The only thing I remember is when back to World War II, as old Hitler promised a lot of Germans that they would all get their own VW Beetle, but they never really lived out on that promise. Yeah, that's something I remember from history class. Don't know why that's important.
I like to imagine they're all sitting around and
the war's over, so I'm not getting my fucking Beetle then. No, you're not. Fuck.
The only thing I learned from history, it wasn't even from the history teacher, it was from my friend. Apparently, there was this bomb planted in a suitcase, and it was supposed to detonate and it would explode and kill Hitler. But apparently, the German guy just kicked it out of the way and defused the bomb. So
Damn.
Hitler could have been killed, or I shouldn't have said Hitler. Hitler would have been killed quicker than he already was.
And then they didn't even get to him first. He did it himself.
Well, allegedly he lived out in Argentina, which I like to imagine. Imagine being in the 1950s, see a guy that looks like Hitler. They're like, oh, World War II was tough on the old Jews, and Hitler's like, yeah, tough on the old Jews, wasn't it? Yeah. How's the weather there, Johnny? And you're like, you look awfully familiar. And he's like, no.
To be fair, there's actually a show called I believe it's Danger 5. And it's Australian. It's an Australian action comedy TV series where, for some reason, it's like a 1960s interpretation of World War II. Where at some point they're set in like a school, and you just have Johnny Hitler, who is like a really popular jock. It's absolutely fucking bonkers. If anybody's watched
What's it called again? Danger 5.
Danger 5.
It's like that. Have you ever seen that robot chicken joke that they made? There's this joke where it was basically baby Hitler, and it was like, I want Poland's desk. So he takes Poland's desk. And then he comes back the next week and all the kids' desks are gone. And it's just America sat there like, yeah, I'm going to war.
Yeah, so if anybody knows Danger 5, tell me in the comment section down below.
Or email it, one or the other.
It's absolutely fucking bonkers. In one episode, the Nazis try to steal the Statue of Liberty. It's nuts. Oh, Johnny Hitler.
Is that his name on the show? Like, you're not making that up?
No, at some point he went to... I think he is genuinely just Johnny Hitler. But in one episode, he goes back to high school in the American Midwest. And he just have Johnny Hitler. Mate, honestly, if we were monetized, this would be ruined right now. Regardless, there's enough. Let's not indulge in our shit. Let's just get through the fucking episode.
With Johnny Hitler, the third guest.
And yeah, so obviously Kim's celebrating that she won the yellow Volkswagen Beetle. Denise says, you beat a 13-year-old with a Cocker Spaniel. But Kim doesn't care and wants to pose with a car. Then we see two teens walk out the house, about to hit the bloody shag. And they hit them all with a, alright, geezer. The balls on this man. Or teen, I don't know. But just hit them with an, alright, geezer. It buckled me. As Kim and Howie get angry and scream at everyone to get out, as Ricky's just like, guys, I just changed the nappy. It's like, great, you're going to be a sick dad, Ricky. You changed one nappy one time. Proud of you, mate. Good job.
You mean Nugget? Or was it Ricky?
No, it was Ricky.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because obviously he's going to become a dad soon.
Oh, yeah.
And Chelsea and Ravi talk, and Chelsea opens up about Gray, and she finds it hard to trust people. They bond over both being parents and having that like core love for a child, even if it's in like less than ideal circumstances. Ravi opens up about how he used to deal drugs, and I just went, is this what this crime ring is? Is Ravi just dealing drugs on the side? I'll be honest, my theory's gone absolutely mental. I'm led to believe that Ravi's genuinely dealing with sex trafficking. Like, because basically, someone did the idea over on old EastEnders subreddit of like, he's taking a bunch of girls to these hotels and, he's making regular visits. Like, maybe he's just, I don't know. It's crept into my subconscious. It's probably not even a good idea. But it's in there. It's like the time I thought Janine was going to leave happy with Mick. How dumb was I?
And then Mick swam to the sea.
Yeah. She gets a phone call from Jack about the surprise party and how Jordan, at aged 1, or however old he is, he might be 4, I don't know. I think he was born in 2019. So he's probably 4-ish. Was brought to a party. And at McClunky's we see Kim and Denzel. Denzel is just upset at how angry how he was, but Kim talks him through, saying that everyone's been there before. Even I, the Kimfluencer, woke up in a skip.
You got any wild stories to tell people about your drunken adventures?
Well, I can tell you the weirdest place I've woken up.
Was it a thorn full of nettles?
Yeah, it was a bush. It was a nettle bush with my trousers around my ankles. So I just woke up. I'd clearly just gone for a piss, but just passed out. I woke up in this nettle bush with my fucking trousers down my ankles. I didn't realise though. I blanked it out of my memory, and then about 5 minutes later, I'm just like, oh god, my arm it stings. And then they're like, we found you in a nettle bush, and I'm like, oh, I see. That was the last time I got blackout drunk. That was fun.
Why do nettle bushes exist?
Because, I don't know.
They absolutely suck.
I mean, do you want all nettle bushes gone?
Just like the Austrian thinker, down with nettle bushes. No, alright.
No. Denzel says, I'm gonna have to start calling you mum now, but Kim just goes, do you think I'm old enough to be your mum? Do me a favour.
Catchphrase.
Yeah. Kim offers to bring Denzel out for a spin with her new Foxcatcher mobile. And at the bar we see Ben and Callum talking. Ben's upset as Lola and Jay didn't tell him straight away. As Callum asks about Lexi and Ben says Jay brought her home. Callum awkwardly says another one, to which Ben goes, yeah, go on then, and we see that Ben's talking to the trainer called Troy, who wants to see him tomorrow to start properly training. And Freddie's in the Queen Vic and he's talking to Becca and he mentions how he's double booked and he's so sorry. Becca says, Mr. Darcy, in a tracksuit, and basically tells him to sod off. Mitch finally gets his pork scratchings. I felt bad for Freddie in this scene.
Yeah.
He's just, well, to be fair, not really. He agreed to go on a date with 2 different people at the same time. That's not on. But everybody's laughing at him. And we then see the fallout of the party as Chelsea and Ravi get back. Denise fills them in that Jordan's asleep and that Nugget is drunk after a 2-litre bottle of cider. I can appreciate that.
Just as a man who appreciates cider, you don't get drunk after your first bottle.
If it's a 2-litre bottle, yeah, you do.
Unless you're my cousin.
Nah,
who gets drunk after 1 pint.
Mate, you can get drunk after 1 pint. If you're not an active drinker, 2-litre bottle of cider will mess you up. I could probably drink a 2-litre bottle of cider and get drunk.
Okay, I didn't know it was a 2-litre cider. Had I known that. It's
not just 1 bottle, like. And even if he doesn't have any alcohol tolerance. He's like 14 years old. Yeah, mate, people get drunk on dark fruits. And dark fruits are shite. It's not even worth the alcohol capacity. You're just drinking black currant that someone's fizzed some fucking hooch into. It's not even that tasty.
I haven't tried a black, what is it called?
Dark
Dark
fruits.
fruits. Haven't tried it.
Well, basically, if you do, well, it's the thing that everybody gets their parents to buy when they want to go out, like, drinking, because it's so cheap, but also really, like, not high alcohol content. And, well, if you grow up in the UK, you, in the party scene, you first and foremost despise dark fruits. You've heard Mr. Brightside more times than you can count.
And Wonderwall.
And Wonderwall. And at some point you just give up on drinking cider.
Unless you're me and Ash, then you drink cider.
I'm not really much of a cider fan anymore. The last time I drank cider, it gave me heartburn. Like some mad heartburn.
I remember watching the Royal Rumble with Ash, and then all he goes is, "My fucking heart is going at me. I've got heartburn," and I'm sat there laughing, and then I instantly got heartburn. I was like, "Oh fuck."
Yeah. I don't know. I just haven't really drank in a while. Who knows? I don't really know what my preference is. I think I like the idea of most. I like the idea of just having a nice cold beer, even if it tastes bad.
I'd recommend, if you're on tablets, I'd recommend not to take alcohol. I would recommend non-alcoholic, because it's still the same kick, just non-alcoholic.
Yeah, no, I don't really. Not really much of a drinker, anyways.
Yeah, this is my third non-alcoholic can in the past 3 days. I've had one Thursday, I had one Friday, I had one Saturday. Yeah. These are pretty lovely.
Denise says, like, "Oh, thanks, Denise, for looking after my grandchild." And she tells Ravi to leave, but Chelsea puts her foot down and tells Denise that Ravi and Nugget are staying. For a second, it looked like Ravi was about to lose his shit when Denise is like, "Wow, no wonder Nugget's the way he is, considering who his dad is. I thought he was gonna just walk over and belt her one." He had the angry eyes.
The old O.J. Simpson 1-2. Or Stone Cold for wrestling fans.
And yeah, we then see Kim and Denzel in the car outside the Watford train station as two lads load a mattress, a locker, and apparently a table into the back of the blue van. We also see Ravi furiously text Denise, reminding her that she's the married one. But Denise's phone is still in the car, and Kim sees all of these messages who can't stop looking. Denzel screams at her to focus on the road, but she swerves out the way of the person, but drives straight into some scaffolding. Episode 2 commences with the aftermath of the car crash. Denzel is unconscious as Mick desperately tries to open the door, but it's no use as they are genuinely just wedged in some scaffolding. Howie rings Kim, but she's not picking up. And it's that time-old soap trope where just before the kid gets in some grave danger, just before they get in some danger, they've had a big argument, so they're obviously still upset. And as soon as Howie realizes that Kim was too busy looking at his phone, she probably hit her with the "if he dies, I'll never forgive you" type deal. Good old soap classic. And Mitch rings the hospital to get an ambulance to arrive at the scene. Bernie directs the paramedics to them in likely the one bit of screen time this week. She was screaming. She was like, "Oh, this is my one scene. Guys, they've fallen." Just gave it all the tits. And Mitch desperately tries to help out, but Callum flashes his badge and gets Kim to safety. Callum once again playing hero. Not all detectives wear capes.
I can be your hero, baby.
Yes. And we see that Denise and Jack are talking about Ravi and Nugget's parenting skills. Jack's being the overbearing dad to Amy and yells at her for drinking when she's so young and on medication. Amy then storms off as Denise answers Kim's phone and asks him, "What do you want?" It's Howie, and I assume that they kind of go. Actually, no, we don't see what he says. He's just probably like, "Where's Kim? Where's Howie? Where's Denzel?" And yeah,
Probably like, have you seen the news?
well, the weather is rather tremendous.
Yeah, have you seen the weather? It seems to be raining tomorrow.
And the ambulance pulls up and the police car, and you wrote, "There's no way the ambulance or the police car arrived that quick."
I'm not wrong. It would
Like,
take 5
I can
minutes.
appreciate the cop car because there is genuinely, I'm pretty sure there is the station on the square. But
Yeah.
the ambulance, nah. And at Chelsea's house, we see Nugget and Ravi have an argument talking about the party. Nugget bringing baby Jordan and their differences. Nugget argues that it's always Ravi's fault and says he doesn't want to be anything like him. Ravi heats up and tells him he better not walk away from him, so he slams him against the fucking wall. Nugget mentions how Ravi's dad never wanted him, and if his granddad or like Babaji, I don't know, it's just the word they use, was here, and Ravi nearly absolutely leathers him, but Chelsea says no, and Nugget very quickly bolts it away. Once again, Ravi's got them angry eyes. It's been a while since we've seen someone other than Phil with a massive temper on the square. Like, he's an actual supposed hard man, but not in this situation as he's about to batter his own son, so, you know. Do like the angry eyes, though.
Love the angry eyes.
But you could at least, I suppose you could at least see some level of depth there, as he clearly was like, "Oh, fuck. I nearly just did that." So, kudos. And at the car crash, we all see Kim and Denzel and Howie reeling over Denzel still being stuck in the car. Kim, meanwhile, staring right at the phone, wanting to confront Denise over Ravi's texts. But Howie nearly breaks down and is just terrified and crying, worrying about his son. We then see Ravi break down and cry in front of Chelsea. He opens up that his dad used to do it to him when he was younger, and he used to keep getting pinned against the wall, and Ranveer kept squeezing the life out of him. He kind of just cries at the fact that he's just a bad dad. But, you know, Chelsea consoles him. And back at the car crash, we see Denise and Kim walking. Denise is like saying something, but Howie bursts in like, "Hey Kim, what happened? Kim, you must remember." And Kim just goes, "I don't remember, I just wanted ice cream, Howie." Strike one. You messed up now, Kim. But then again, it's probably not the time to say, "I'm the reason your son could die." And at the pub, we see Freddie being sad and worried about his second date. He said earlier she was gagging for his battered sausage. He puts his foot in his mouth as Jesse shows up and bails out. Freddie gets upset and storms out because he feels like everyone was calling him thick. Like, yeah, Gene said, like, "Oh, he's not the brightest bulb." Essentially, it's brought back some old memories. I wouldn't say Freddie's dumb.
No, Freddie's smart.
He's just not, like, book smart.
Yeah.
Which is perfectly fine. And Mitch then walks into the pub and says, like, really sadly, like, "Yeah, that was a crash." As Ravi keeps calling Nugget, but he won't pick up. Chelsea is looking sad as she's just been informed that Auntie Kim's been in a car crash. Ravi decides he'll take her there, but Chelsea says, "No, it's alright, find Nugget." And at the Panasars, we see Nish and Suki arrive home from the night at the pub and Nugget's there as he tells them that Ravi pushed him against the wall. Nish's temper flares as well, so he storms off before Ravi continues, and she asks if this was about Denzel. And Nugget's like, What? You what? You know, he doesn't know. He doesn't know that he was involved in a car accident. At the pub, we see Jean looking sad, and she says, "We were laughing at him, not with him." And Harvey's like, "Yeah, but he knows we're laughing with him." And, you know, he insists that they were, but Jean's pretty upset and decides that she's going to go home. Then we see Nish and Ravi interact as Nish says, "You lay one finger on him, and I'll batter you." And he tells Nish, like, "Oh, Panasars don't batter the kids. They just abandon them."
Cheese.
Yeah, Nish gives him the ultimatum and threatens him to find out. I'll be honest, knowing both Ranveer and Nish, there's no surprises that Ravi's the way he is as a dad. What role models he had? He hasn't really been treated with love. He's been treated with contempt. Sorry. Like, his one dad just abandoned him, and his fake dad never really loved him. Bit tragic, really. And at the hospital, we see Howie talking about how they're going to do scans on his brain. Howie is struggling completely, and him and Amy both blame themselves as they think it's their fault that Denzel got into the car accident. And at the other end of the hostel, we see Kim and Denise being checked on by a nurse who recognizes Kim from TikTok. She tells Denise about Ravi as she's seen the text and wants an answer. But in the nick of time, a policeman comes along and wants to ask some questions. And at the Slater's house, we see Freddie looking upset as Jean wants to apologize to him. He struggles because back at school, everyone would call him stupid, and he starts to deal with emotions and thoughts that seem to correlate with having ADHD. They share a hug, and yeah, they really... One thing I've just realized, they're really good at making Jean have a wholesome relationship with people. I say this, I reflect back to when Jean and Haley Slater, you know, when she just comforted her through a whole pregnancy and after the birth. And, you know, they had this, like, mum-daughter relationship that she'd never had. And it's just, Jean is such a good character. And Freddie as well. I got worried that Freddie was going to leave the square pretty sharpish. But it seems like he's sticking around for a while, and I'm all for it. The second Freddie leaves, it'll be a sad day.
Yeah.
And at the hospital, we see the police tell Kim that we have to do a full investigation, including your step-grandson, when he wakes up. Kim talks to Denise about Ravi and says it was because she was never getting any attention from Jack. And Kim says, "Your daughter's being used and you're just letting it happen." And Kim questions if she truly loves this and if she truly loves Jack, and is told that Ravi's now blackmailing her. She's upset because, like I said, she's just letting this happen, and like, how can she let her daughter suffer like this? Denise says, if you weren't looking at that phone, which completely just... Kim is just disgusted by this and decides she needs to see Howie and see if Denzel's okay. And we see Jean on her computer. She's looking at something and she tells Harvey, "Listen, alright, tomorrow I need your car, all cool," and it seems like they're about to visit old Mr. Hawthorne. And then in the final scenes of episode 2, at the hospital we see Kim talking to Howie and Denise reunites with the family. Kim talks about the person that stepped in front of the car as Howie is told the results of Denzel's scan. He doesn't have any brain damage, but has suffered a lot of internal bleeding, a ruptured spleen, and his blood pressure is very low. As Kim stares daggers at Denise as the episode finishes. Episode 3 continues in the hospital as Howie is talking to an unconscious Denzel. He's so sad and thinking back to when he was a boy and how they got to this point. He talks about his past and how he didn't want any child turning out like he did. And at the Slater's house, we see Jean talking to Freddie about his old teachers that bullied him, and they've decided they're going to go on a road trip to see Mr. Hawthorne. Did you have a teacher that was a prick to you?
I'll let you go first.
Yeah. It was mostly in sixth form, honestly. There was this teacher called... I don't remember her actual name, so I think we just called her Katie, but she was just always on my... She was always in my fucking shit. And you know, sixth form's a ball late because, you know, we had like weekly 16-mark essays that we had to do and had all this extra work outside of lessons. Like, we had 12 hours a week of that set lesson. But fuck me. Actually, I don't know if we had 12 hours, but I think it was like... I don't even know. It's like 4... It was like 4 hours-ish. Probably a lot longer. But regardless, it was just... I wasn't up to it. And also had this media studies teacher who I think I've briefly mentioned before, who was like a failed media like person. So she just became a like media studies teacher. And she'd just be really like wanky about herself. Like, well, if I'd done it, and I know if I'd done it, because I can only trust one person to do things right. The best fucking media person I know. Me! And just like, she just, like, I'll admit, I chatted a lot, but she continually was like, oh, you're saying something, Ash. And I'm like, fuck off. I'm just trying to quip a shit joke or ask about this answer that I need to do. But it's just continually just like calling me out. Fucking prick. And I suppose I was at this point in sixth form that I'd fully given up, so I was being a prick. Oh, and there was another one. I've forgotten.
Sorry, what was sixth form again?
Sixth form's like after GCSEs.
So after secondary school, more college.
Yeah. And in actual in high school, there was this teacher called Mr. Chad, who was this PE teacher, but he was one of those PE teachers that were a bit slimy. It's like, oh, it's a PE lesson, now time to exclusively help the girls. And just stare at them. And he just, once again, just kept on getting on my shit. And at some point I just started fucking about just because he was there. Like one time I met, during this hockey game, I was really bored. So I started making a bunch of jokes like, oh, go on lads, break his legs. You know, it's not a funny joke, but it's also not a serious comment. And then like a day later, he's like, I don't think I like your kind of humour. And I'm like, well, fucking wasn't for you. You reckon I'm actually saying break his legs? No. You see anybody with broken legs or being wheeled out of the fucking nurse's room? No. What are you coming at me for? Yeah.
I have two stories to tell before I get on to my story. My granddad used to be be quite a chatty fella in school, and then a teacher for 30 times hit him on both hands, 15 on each. So like 15 on the right with a ruler and 15 on the left with a ruler. So we kind of had it safe in school. But the other story I want to tell, I think there's two stories that intertwine. I don't know if they intertwine or not. But basically, one of my mates in Tidy Towns, I won't say his real name, we'll call him Dave. Dave was a very chatty fella in school as well. He was a very know-it-all. He's now an everyday man. He works. He helps with fences, puts up fences. He helps dig holes. He helps keep the town tidy.
Yeah.
And basically in school, he the teacher. So there was 5 students who were being bullied, and he was one of them. So the teacher ran around. The first student got hit 10 times. The second student got hit 10 times. The third student got hit 10 times. The fourth student got hit 10 times. He was the 5th student. And the ruler, he was telling us the ruler, when I hit him, absolutely broke in half. The ruler broke in his hand. So yeah, And there was another story, and I don't know if it's true. Apparently, this kid was bullying him. So apparently, he went up and smashed his face against the radiator.
Jesus.
So yeah.
Gosh, how come people are getting hit in your story? Like,
I don't know.
I can appreciate the like granddad angle because like older generations, different schooling, But these
Yeah, well,
like
don't forget Dave. Dave is probably in his 50s or 60s as
oh
well.
okay, all right.
So like, for me, you might not believe this, but I got a detention once for farting in class.
That's did you do the old like mask it? Just the
No, I didn't. I just let her rip.
no.
And the teacher, I didn't get along with this teacher. Me and this teacher weren't great. And this teacher basically went, "Do you fart at home, Piggy?" And I went, "Yeah, everyone has to fart." And she's like, "I'm giving you a detention." So I literally got a detention for farting in class.
Nice.
And she would have singled me out. So like,
To be there's a story. Someone got sent out because they farted, and it was the most like I don't know. The teacher must just having a furious day, and she was just disgusted. Like, why'd you always fart in here? Get out! And then this person's like, really? And they're like, yeah, it stinks. Oh, it's just, would hate it to be would never want it to be me. But we'll laugh
there
at
is
someone else doing it.
there is a story of my cousin, because me and my cousin used to be in the same class. I
Yeah.
call him Johnny. And Johnny, he used to tell people what to do. That makes sense. He was not a bully, but he did bully me. He threw me down a flight of stairs on the concrete, or not on the concrete, on the tiles. But Johnny one day went up to our teacher, our maths teacher. So basically, we would have higher level, lower level, foundation. We were the foundation level. And basically, he went up and went, "You're not teaching the fucking class, sir." And then the teacher went, "All right, Johnny, teach the class." And he went, "What?" And he went, "Teach the class." He said, "I couldn't fucking teach the class." Teach the fucking class. And they shut him up.
Yeah, fair enough.
So yeah. I used to also get given out in school because I used to be very opinionated. So
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, school is kind of a school kind of. I don't know about most people, but it kind of beat the like interest in learning a bunch of stuff out of me because I just kind of left school and I went, I don't fucking want to learn anything. Like,
see, because I know we're sidetracking and this is a long podcast, I am sorry, but school is too far behind. And I know people are going to be like, "What do you mean?" Well, school is just teaching. You go to school, you have to learn, you have to get a job, a 9 to 5 job. You have to then get married, have kids, die when you're old. But things have changed. Society has evolved. Like, you don't need a 9 to 5 job to be stable anymore. You can literally do TikToks for a living and still get by in life.
yeah, I'd still argue
People,
it's a bit. It's just it doesn't really teach you how to do like imagine if you got taught how to do taxes. Like imagine if you got taught like actually like this is a work scenario. This is probably the right way to act in a work scenario. There's a lot of like lessons that you're just kind of expected to learn by yourself.
Mhm.
And as someone on the autism spectrum, reading between the lines ain't really my thing. So it's a bit it can be a bit difficult. But in general though, most people will learn shit that you never use.
Yeah,
Like what am I using history for now? It's good to learn from. But
not to repeat it.
like you've learned algebra. Sick. You can now vaguely do algebra. What if I'm not touching algebra?
I don't think I ever learned algebra, so I'm lucky.
It just kind of, I think school would be good if it actually taught you a lot of these lessons rather than just leaving like the learning outside the classroom to you as a whole.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey,
Yeah.
school gets you through sixth form and then gets you into university if that's the route you go down, if you like academia, and or if you want to just waste like an extra 5-6 years. Also works if you don't want to commit to getting an actual job. You can just do uni for all the time. Yeah. But I feel like the angle of people just heading straight to uni, I feel like that's also been pushed dramatically. Because you know what, most people get a degree and never fucking use it, and I think the penny is dropped, and people realize that I don't actually have to go to university. I can just know the right people and get a good job. So it's I don't know, maybe we're just old men shouting at clouds. I wasn't good at academia. Yeah.
Yeah. School, we will make a bonus video to talk about school. If you guys want it, we will gladly talk about school for a half an hour. If you guys want it.
Yeah, comments down below if anybody made it to this point. And yeah, so Freddie is obviously upset because he's like, there's no way I'm going back to that school. It was the worst part of my life. And Jean's like, yeah, but you should want closure. And he's like, I closed that story when I left. And he storms off as we cut to Walford East, where Ravi's cleaning tables and Chelsea's come in concerned about him. As Ravi's beaten himself up and is so angry and frustrated, and she says, we'll sort it out together. Then at Patrick's house, we see Kim packing items for the hospital as Denise walks in and Kim pretty much yells at her to cut to the chase. She wants Denise to tell Chelsea, or she will herself. And Denise is like, alright, fine, I'll sort it. At the walkway, we see Freddie sitting down as Bobby B comes in and says, you're right, Freddie, you look like someone's nicked your last Rolo. And he says it's Jean. She wants me to go back to school. And yeah, we carry on. Callum and Ben are sitting down, and Nugget thanks Callum for rescuing Kim and Denzel. Callum says it's alright, and then he reminds Ben that they have a date later. As we also see Chelsea bumped into Nugget, and she tells him not every parent is perfect. And she says she knows how he feels. He just wants to know if Denzel's okay. And she then says, hey, Rafi's in Walford East. Feel free to go there. And we continue on with Bobby B talking to Freddie. And he tries to comfort him, and Freddie kind of agrees but's conflicted. He essentially goes, listen, alright, Freddie, even if this may not be comfortable, sometimes you have to confront the things that make you uncomfortable. So you can actually, like, figure it out and, like, try, like, get past it. And, you know, he mentions how, like, his OCD when he was dealing with that, and now it's manageable, and it was a nice conversation. I don't know if I ship Bobby and Freddie or not. Like, we know Freddie's bi. But would...
Is Freddie bi?
He is. But would Bobby be interested? I don't think they're gonna do it.
I don't think so.
But I think it's just a good friendship that hopefully lasts a while. Nugget then heads into the cafe and quickly sees Amy. She yells at him saying it's his fault, but she quickly apologizes. You know, basically she's like, why'd you bring the child? He wouldn't have been so angry if you did that. But he like goes, listen, alright, it's fine. I'll set up a group chat. Let's go ahead and like make a playlist for Dens and get this sorted. As Kim goes to the hospital to check on Denzel and Howie. She feels sheepish, but Howie is desperate to see his improvement. She says, why don't you take a break for a minute? And Denzel then squeezes Howie's hands and they rush to the doctors. Back at the restaurant, we see Chelsea talk to Ravi as Nugget walks in and hugs his dad. Ravi promises that it won't happen again, and he then pulls out a laptop and gives it to his son. And yeah, back at the hospital. Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice wholesome scene there. Like, you actually believe that Ravi actually gives a shit about his son, which you haven't really for the most part. And Chelsea's been helping a lot, and it kind of... They have a moment in a little bit where I'm just kind of like, is this genuine now? Is Ravi developing genuine feelings now that they bonded? But I couldn't tell you either way. Like, he's still using her. Yeah, back at the hospital, we see Kim and Howie, and the doctor essentially says, yeah, the memory is the longest thing to come back. And Jack walks in and says, I'll let Amy know she's been calling him non-stop. And Kim says, I'll go check on them and ask Jack if he can stay a little bit. He agrees, and Kim leaves. At the school, we see Freddie, Jean, Harvey, and Bobby B. Tell Freddie everything's going to be alright, as they are like scouting out the teacher, ready to pounce. At the restaurant, we see the gang sitting around as Kim walks in and says, Chelsea, have you spoken to your mum yet? And yeah, Ravi and Chelsea seem genuinely happy together now that they've shared some trouble. But yeah, Chelsea kind of goes like, listen, alright, Kim, I don't know what you're going on about, but Ravi's a good man. And still fighting in his corner. And outside the hair salon, we see Denise locking it up as Kim comes to talk to her about what happened. Denise asks if Howie threw her out, but Kim couldn't tell him. They decide that they need to sort this. And then Freddie confronts Mr. Hawthorne as they spot him outside the school. He confronts his demons. He says it's his turn now and that he dreams big and he has to stop picking on little kids, as they all cheer him on. I'm sure a lot of people have like theorized about them giving like an ex-teacher like a verbal beatdown. Because, you know, some teachers are just needlessly pricks. And then at the restaurant, we see the kids and Chelsea get a text from Kim as Denise comes to confront Ravi. She mentions how Kim seeing the text led to the crash, and Denise tries to play to the good side of Ravi. This works in reverse as he decides he's not going to go back to prison. It says that tonight is the night, so get working. And at the Truman house, Kim is trying to explain how awful Ravi is, and Chelsea fights back as Kim tries her best to not mention what happened. However, this works backwards as Chelsea decides that she may take things to the next step to spite them. Ben orders a drink and then Callum walks in, but quickly he has to leave as workers called him in on his alcohol holiday. He apologises, but that works as Ben wants to do some boxing training today anyways. The doctor fills in the family on Denzel's condition as he's stressed out completely, while Denzel worries and looks like he's overexerting himself. The doctors say he's lucky and that it's nothing serious. And Ben is training, and Phil notices this and looks proud. His sparring partner says that he's a natural. And yeah, not to be a Ben Mitchell fanboy, but this feels like it goes against the character of Ben Mitchell.
What do you mean?
Just talking about the Ben like boxing and him actually being good at it. Because Ben's whole character is he's actually quite shit. Well, he's good in his own way, but he's never good at what Phil wants him to be good at, you know? Like, Ben's problem is that he always wants to be what Phil like wants him to be, but he tries so hard that he just overdoes it and then feels like, why are you doing this to yourself, you know? So I feel like Ben being a good boxer is, I feel like, you know how Danny Dyer definitely got into the scriptwriter's ear at Christmas time?
Yeah.
Well, the Ben Mitchell actor posted at the time like, I finally get to do my two favourite things, acting and boxing. And so it feels like he went, guys, now that we've got this boxing gym, can Ben become a good boxer? And it's like, yeah, but it's Ben Mitchell. He's supposed to be like weak and shit. He's not a good boxer. He can't fight. He'd rather dance than fight. It's not. They've just kind of changed. They've just kind of changed the character a little bit. But then again, that's just me being a little Ben Mitchell fanboy. Sorry. Do you think Ben's a natural boxer? I fucking don't.
I don't either.
But at least Phil was immediately proud of him, and none of this delayed gratification bullshit, where Phil's gonna be like, "Listen, all right, you're right, but you're not as good as me." And it's like, Phil, you just need to say that he's doing a good job. Well, Grant would still batter you. It's like, Phil, Phil, just make your son feel validated. Nah, fuck off. Slag.
That's Phil Mitchell wrapped up.
It is. And at the restaurant, we see Ravi give the kids drinks. He wants to know what Kim was talking about. But before he gets filled in by Chelsea, Callum arrives and the police walk in and... They walk in and arrest Ravi. Nugget is terrified, but he reminds them that this isn't all a mistake as Denise phones Kim and says it's been sorted. And in the final scenes of the third episode, in the hospital, Denzel reveals that it was Kim's fault that they crashed, because she was on her phone. And the final episode of the week commences as Ravi is giving no common answers as to why Nugget has been given one of these stolen laptops. Chelsea asks Nugget how he's holding up, and he says he's fine, because it's not the first time he's been locked up. Then he doesn't think that Ravi is a decent guy and has no real love for him. Yeah, there's no love between the Panasars, really. Nobody likes Ravi in that circle.
No.
And Denise reveals that she phoned the police suggesting that he's been handling goods. Jack obviously doesn't know, but Kim is going to keep it a secret because, Kim's been keeping a lot of secrets of Denise's. Kim's bought a lot of sweets to Denzel, and they don't know that Howie already knows and that he's going to be absolutely fuming. And they also don't know that the police don't have much to go on about Ravi's arrest, so, this bridge could easily go down. Denzel asks Howie if Kim's going to go visit, and he genuinely offers to cover for her, as he doesn't want to tell her. He'll happily say to the police, yo, it's not her fault. Which I'd do. Come on, it's basically your stepmom. She's really sound. You don't want her to go to prison. And Reese is feeling sorry for the building, as Sonia is upset because of poor Denzel. He tries to ditch the passport meeting, but Sonia isn't having any of it. Meanwhile, in the cafe, Freddie and Bailey are signing a Save the Planet petition, as Freddie and Bobby are excited over their victory over Mr. Hawthorne. They're so happy to never see him again. As someone who looks shockingly like Mr. Hawthorne enters the cafe. Bollocks.
Comedy gold.
Yeah. It's I'm glad I'm never going to have to see that. Yeah, I mean, whatever EastEnders swear word they used. Again. And Nish asks Eve to keep a close eye on Suki this weekend, as the family's going through a lot. And Nish reminds her that Ravi isn't going to drag the family name into the ground, as all of this is witnessed by Chelsea. But back in the cafe, though, as Mr. Hawthorne is chatting with Freddie as he's trying to explain why he was such a prick. He apologises to Bobby for making him feel so small. And the teacher says, I should have... Oh, Jesus, just knocked something off. And the teacher says, I should have been the first person to help you get an ADHD diagnosis. As Freddie's like, you what? Diagnosis? And Kim arrives at Daniel's room with gifts. But Howie is absolutely furious. He calls her out as Kim kind of meekly says sorry and then walks away. Denzel wants Howie to go after her though, which he does, but he's absolutely furious. Kim says that she wouldn't lie to the police, or she wouldn't let Denzel lie to the police, as he says, I can't trust you anymore, it's over. Honestly, in terms of breaking apart, I feel like your partner nearly killing your son. Pretty reasonable. One of the more reasonable splits in EastEnders in a while.
Does Howie have a place to stay on the square?
Yeah, let's stay at the Trumans. This isn't Denzel's
yeah,
home.
But Kim lives there, doesn't she?
I mean, yeah, but they're obviously not splitting up for long.
Alright.
Like, I don't see there being a place on the square for Howie if he's not with Kim. And that's fine, because they work perfectly together. And yeah, Mr. Hawthorne explains to Freddy that he didn't believe in ADHD at the time, until he learned of a different student who struggled with it, and how the treatment actually helped this person dramatically. Gene berates him for being ignorant and not helping, and he genuinely says, look, if you want to go for this, I will help you, I'll do my best. Nice teacher with your curly hair.
All you remembered of him was his curly hair.
Yeah, I mean, he had nice hair.
Fair.
Yeah. And Denise and Jack are talking about Ravi as Chelsea walks in and blanks him at the bar. Denise tries to talk to her and tries to prove her point of Ravi being a wrong un. However, Chelsea is worried about Nugget and kind of reminds him that a boy can lose his dad out of this. So, yeah, it's a small victory, but there's a lot of consequences for this. And Reese is talking with someone about his wife. And as we said earlier, we'd be discussing what we think the theory is. And essentially, I feel like she's either dying or, paralyzed somehow and in, a vegetative state. Or, a medically induced coma or something like that. That's my vague idea. Because they wouldn't just have him cheat on her, without being, allowed to. Allowed to. Yes, you can cheat on me. No, but, it feels like there's more to it. Well, what do you think Reese's secret is about his wife?
He's gay.
Categorically untrue.
You never know.
And Mr. Hawthorne's in the Slaters, waiting for Freddy bringing a cup of tea. They want to pursue the diagnosis, and maybe it'll help them figure out what's going on up there. As Ravi gets back and Chelsea desperately wants answers. She wants to not regret defending him to everyone and anyone. He says he had to shift some laptops for a friend inside. And yeah, for a second I thought he was going to say trafficked women. It's the headcanon. It just gets in the way. Chelsea says all this should have stopped when he became a dad. But he said he had no choice and he wouldn't have gone to Nish, so He believes he's going down for this because he didn't have any evidence otherwise. Chelsea Sportsman decides if these are going to be the last couple of days as a free man, you will live with your head high. And Reese sees Bailey and Bernie getting a petition signed and sees a stalling opportunity by getting involved in an environmental debate. He thinks it's worked, but Sonia's just like, you know what, maybe we don't need to fly to Thailand. What if we can do it with a completely clear carbon footprint? God damn it, Sonia, you're the best. And Kim and Denise are drinking and discussing in the pub. Chelsea and Ravi walk in and they are fully attacking them. Chelsea says, you're here drowning your sorrows. Maybe Howie doesn't want you at the hospital. As Kim walks out and Denise says further maybe you should spend your last free moments as a free man with your son. And obviously Ravi kind of hears this and goes, oh yeah, shit. And obviously Nugget's been with Nish and Suki. Suki gets a hug and they're off to Leeds again, but Nish rejects a text from Ravi and tries to hide Ravi's contact with Nugget from him. Ravi and Nugget hug and they say they're going to go home, while Nish looks on disapprovingly. Nish reminds him that he's causing such a mess, but if he goes down, Nugget will always have his place. Imagine just your dad just saying that. Well, fuck you, but your kid, he's alright. Christ. Like I said, I feel like it's fairly understandable why Ravi has so many daddy issues. And yeah, Ravi is unimpressed. And then Kim is drinking but gets a video call from Patrick, who talks about the crash and how she broke Howie's heart. She admits that she was on the phone and now he doesn't trust her, but he says that Howie still loves her. His advice? Tell the truth. As Kim grabs a police business card out of a bag, dials the number, and says she needs to tell them what really happened. As Ravi apologizes to Nugget for keeping him in the dark, but he says it was okay. He fixed his phone and asked a serious question. Why did the police take him in? Ravi admits that the laptop was stolen, but he shouldn't let it get that far. Nugget does believe this, however. Nugget does believe, however, that Ravi's definitely not going to prison, which is a bit ominous. And Chelsea sees this go down and says, "You can't go to prison," and offers to give him an alibi. They passionately kiss and share a seemingly genuine moment as the week's episodes finish up for now. Alright, and that was Watching Walford number 14. I'd say that was probably one of the strongest weeks of EastEnders we've seen in a while. What do you reckon, Piggy?
Yeah, I agree.
It was a lot more fun to see like the Fox Trumans fully get their platform, and obviously there's a video coming out about it at some point soon. But yeah, and I suppose, yeah, it was a decent week of EastEnders. It felt like it was back on the right track after a fairly slow couple of weeks. And even if I had a pretty rough week surrounding this, I still had a great amount of fun just kind of reeling from everything that went down. But, as always, the final segment of the show, the final thing we do, the awards section. So, Piggy, what do you want to do for the awards section this week? Which one goes first?
What awards is there again?
The Underrated Character Award, the Steve Blackman Award, and the Slapping Down Award.
Do you want to do the slapping down award first?
I'm trying to figure out who actually deserves it.
Okay, we'll move on and we'll come back to that.
Underrated Character of the Week. I'm going to give it straight back to my boy, Bobby B.
Can I go with Bobby B as well?
Yeah, you can. He didn't get to do much, but just was there for Freddy, was a good mate, and I just love him. He's just great. We'll never have enough love for Bobby Beale. I hope he's never recast.
I hope he's not recasted as well.
The Steve Blackman Award, the most wooden character in the show.
The scaffolding.
Sound. Who was particularly weak? I'm just gonna give it to Jack again because all he did was like, oh my. Actually, no, I've got it. Jordan.
Poor Jordan. He did nothing wrong.
But he just sat there whilst Nugget celebrated. Actually, no. Hold on, I change it. Ricky Jr. Because all he did is went, guys, I just changed a baby. Oh, for Christ's sake! How are you gonna be a dad? You're garbage. And the final award. Who needs slapping down?
Up the rat. Cut that. Nugget.
What, just for the sheer fact that he brought a baby to a party?
He brought a baby to a party.
Yeah. Is there anybody else who desperately... Mr. Hawthorne. But only in the first episode. Because he actually turns out to be quite reasonable. But for that one episode of all of Freddy's internalized trauma. For affecting our favourite character, or one of our favourite characters, old Freddy Slater, you know, you still deserve slapping down for. As I feel like we can all sympathise with having a teacher who just makes you feel like just like you are nothing. So yeah.
Yeah. All the great dictators had a horrible teacher. Like Hitler had a horrible art teacher. Gandhi had a horrible teacher. Muhammad had a horrible teacher. Oh no, I shouldn't retract that one. You don't want to be killed. Uh, Muhammad was a lovely fellow. Nothing bad happened to Muhammad. Jesus had a horrible teacher. You know what?
Yeah, I'm just going to let you have that one. And happy Easter, I guess. Enjoy the eggs if you are religious, even though we're not very pro-religion here. Enjoy the holiday. And otherwise, just enjoy the bank holidays, everybody else. We got 2 of them this time. Vibing. Also got a bank holiday next month as well, like an early bank holiday. It's just amazing. There's so many bank holidays. Can't wait for about 50 years where you just don't work Mondays anymore because they're all bank holidays. Nah, just kidding. In 50 years, you'll work 6 days a week. Yeah. And that sounds like a sad, sad world to live in. I have been Ash from Watching Walford, and I've been joined by Piggy.
From OSW Reviews.
You wish.
No, I don't, because of their Discord.
Oh. But yeah, and thank you all for watching the Mammoth edition of Watching Walford number 14. It's in the can. And yeah, enjoy the eggs. Have fun. Don't put them in the microwave though. Easter egg chocolate is not good at being microwaved.
Who puts an Easter egg in the microwave?
Me, when I was about 10. I went to melt the chocolate, but it just burns. It just straight burns. Don't microwave your Easter eggs, everyone. Thank you for watching. We've been Watching Walford. Catch you in the next one.